is happening, fellow fantasy GMs? I am JJ Wang. He is the bearded one, DJ Dub. And with our powers combined, we are the Fantasy Couriers.
JJ Wang, it is rookie draft season for Dynasty people. The people that are listening to us are probably Dynasty. I'm making assumptions. If not, they just love to hear the sound of our voices. And I mean, let's be honest, who could blame them? Getting to listen to us once a week, that's just our gift to them.
So I got a question. I was talking to you earlier about my computer. Did you just say rookie 3 times, or is that my computer?
I said rookie 3 times.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, rookie season, man. It's a blast.
So we are experiencing JJ Wang's internet is fluffy, so he's worried if I'm going to glitch. So some of these shows the last couple of weeks we've been chopping in, chopping out. If you see us sort of phase in and out, if you watch our handsome mugs, that's what's going on. That was his question. But have you? I just finished my first rookie draft. Have you jumped in on any yet?
I haven't done one yet. I'm not even sure when the first one. I think the first one's probably the Bourbon Bowl, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not even really sure when the date was. When's the date for that?
I think it's 2 weekends. I don't have any money, so I don't really care. I have no participation point. I have very little draft capital this year, which makes some of these things even more interesting. I just finished my first rookie draft. I did that thing. I think our big key words of wisdom for this time of year for everybody is to avoid rookie fever, because it will ruin your team. And usually I traded away Amon-Ra St. Brown the other year in 2 leagues because I thought Jameson Williams was going to be something, for like medium bags of peanuts. Ended up with duds after that from guys I traded up and drafted, and now I'm missing my boy because I loved Amon-Ra. I thought I'd cash in. So in this draft, I was the champion. I traded away all my picks, and I only had the 312. And there was one guy I wanted. I almost traded up in the 3rd round a couple of spots to get Ray Davis, but he went. And then I waited, and with the 3.12, I got the guy I was waiting for, Tyrone Tracy, in the New York Giants. My running backs are my area of need. So I was like, Devin Singletary, then Tyrone Tracy. He's an injury away, and with a 312, I saved my future draft picks, and I didn't get some poo.
Luckily for you, the draft was early, because the talk on Tyrone Tracy is starting to become more and more prominent. So he's not going. I think by the time you get to the end of May, if you're holding your drafts there towards the end of May, beginning of June, I feel like he's probably going to be a bottom of the second.
You think so?
Kind of guy, yeah. But I mean, when it comes to this point, especially when it's running backs, there's only 2 or 3 running backs that people really are excited for. I think he's going to be the name that everybody's kind of reaching for.
Yeah, I'm a Ray Davis guy. I like the boulder on the goal line to keep Josh Allen healthy. We were talking about that a little earlier, but yeah, he was the guy I wanted. I'm sitting there just getting nervous. Like, the draft took it. The first pick was made right after the first round of the NFL draft. So Harrison went. It's a 1 quarterback, and then it went down. Ended up now I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh gosh. I thought maybe Bo Nix was a couple picks before I might have jumped up because I need a backup. I was like, oh, Tyrone Tracy, and I saved all my draft picks and didn't give away my players. This team's pretty stacked, and the regulators, we start up. Our draft starts tomorrow. My first pick's the 2.1. I kind of like that spot. There's some decent guys there. It's a SuperFlex, so we'll be hitting some of that today. Going to throw out some fillers, see what I can get. But regulators have also asked us, we might come back later on. Jared from Regulators was on our show a couple of times, and he said, ask us if we would do a league overview. So we might have to sneak in, do one of those to see where we're going. I said it'd be a couple weeks till I get in order. So I'm messing up our next 2-week shows by being all over the place. We're recording early this week. So if any big news happens on Sunday, it's because we record on Saturday. Next weekend, oh gosh, we're recording mid to late week because my kids are in the Wizard of Oz. So I'll be playing all week, and then pretty soon JJ Wang's will be out in the fields a lot more, and we're all over the place. Busy men.
Yes, breaking news. It's not really breaking news, but I've been talking. Of course, everybody, my daughter plays soccer, and I've been talking to the coaches. I'm going to end up possibly being the head coach of the team, and even though even though I just wanted to be like a volunteer to help out, it's probably a good chance I end up being a head coach because finding somebody to coach soccer in the area is a rather hard task. It's not a very popular job, but hey, if they need a coach, I'll do it.
Hey, you were probably still the record holder for saves at our high school.
Oh, I guarantee you.
I've never seen someone shot on goal so many times in my entire life. So they're
I'll
good at it, real.
probably also hold the record for most goals allowed as well. So,
Well, I mean, when they shoot, I get hundreds of times, you're gonna let some in. So
this is what it is.
Enough about our athletic prowess in the 90s. What we're going to do today is we're going to treat everybody's favorite episodes are always mock drafts. So we'll probably do some throughout the off season. Hopefully they'll go a lot smoother than that last hot mess that we did where I forgot to push record. This one, we're not even going to use sleeper. We're going to do it old school. We're going to talk about some guys. We're going to do a quick 2-round SuperFlex mock rookie draft. We're just going to go back and forth. We're going to ping pong it through for 2 rounds. And then we will run down the list and see what everybody thinks afterwards. I'll try, if I think about it, I'll post it on our Instagram, Facebook, and you can see how our mock draft goes. So we drew straws, or I said, hey, JJ Wang, do you want to go first or second? He said, I'll go second. And I was like, dag nabbit. And I have the first pick in the SuperFlex draft. And this pick is interesting because honestly, I think it depends upon your team. Because there are 2 guys at the top of this. There's arguments for both. I mean, I'm going to do the thing I don't want to do, but there is an argument to take Marvin Harrison first. He's an argument into being a generational player. And I mean, I have seen a lot of mocks where he goes first because he's just that good. And the quarterbacks, people are like, yay, quarterbacks is super flex. But would you rather in the long run have had Jerry Rice or Steve Berg? So it's an interesting thing, but
that's not a very good comparison.
So Justin Jefferson, what quarterbacks came out that year?
Steve Berg was not anticipated being a great quarterback coming out of college the way Caleb Williams is touted as being coming out of. Yeah, in the long run, you'd want Jerry Rice, but if you got playing fantasy, if you've got 2 talents, whether you've got 2 good quarterbacks or not, after the draft, Caleb Williams is just going to be a more valuable asset. And the longer it goes on, I think Caleb Williams is going to be a very good quarterback. And to have a very good quarterback on your team in SuperFlex Fantasy, I think is more valuable than having a very good wide receiver.
I mean, I think at 1, regardless of what I think about him, he's got all the pieces. The only thing that messes Caleb Williams from being a star is Caleb Williams. Because if I could, that receiver core, and I just think he's in an amazing situation. So with the first pick, I will select Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears quarterback. JJ Wang, where would you go second?
Yeah, I think this is where a decision can be made, where it depends on team strategy. First, Caleb Williams, obviously, but now you've got Marvin Harrison, of course, and then the quarterbacks. So if you need a quarterback on your team, you're going to take a quarterback, obviously, even though Marvin Harrison is great. But where I'm sitting right now, I just like Marvin Harrison, and I'm going to pretend that my quarterback room is really awesome at the moment. And I'm just going to take Marvin Harrison. I think the guy's just going to be an absolute stud. I'm not going to say he's going to be the number 1 wide receiver. I mean, he has the possibility. But I also think Caleb Williams could be a top 5 quarterback. And I think Marvin Harrison is going to be, obviously, a top 5 wide receiver. So, yeah, I'm going to take Marvin Harrison over not a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I'm more of a fan of the other quarterbacks just because I've gotten burned with the running quarterbacks the last couple of drafts. So I'm kind of want to veer away from them a little bit, go a little safer. So yeah, I'll go Marvin Harrison with the number 2 pick.
So it's Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, and my pick changes back and forth. And I'm gonna go with my rookie rankings are up. If you want to check out our website, fantasycouriers.wixsite.com/website, links are in the thing. But I am working on giving us a new website, a web domain. So soon enough, we're going to have the fantasycouriers.com. Wait and see. It's under construction. I was showing JJ Wang earlier. It's going to be a simple site, so don't expect bells and whistles. It's going to be information for you, rankings and stories. But as of now, today I almost convinced myself to go JJ McCarthy because he's in such a good situation. I mean, Marvin Harrison is a home run. If you take him if you can get him, I would love to have him for the next decade. I'm seeing what I can do. I'm going to go with the running quarterback right now in Washington. It's not our same old Commanders, Redskins football team, whatever their name is this year. It's a new regime. Got rid of Dan Snyder, which was the biggest problem in there. And Jaden Daniels was their man. So for one thing, at least this guy is going to be there. They're growing guys around him. They got him a tight end. He's got decent receivers, got some young receivers, and why not go for the running quarterback? It's fantasy. So let him run. He will probably get clocked because he's 120 pounds wet. But I'm going to go Jaden Daniels with the third pick. Very close to J.J. McCarthy, but nervously I will take him.
Yeah, it's understandable. I mean, at this point, Jaden Daniels is probably the pick to go. You mentioned new regime. So with my pick, I think I'm also going to pick a guy with a new regime. It's not your same old Patriots, right? New coaches. The players aren't the greatest, but that's how these teams work out. When you're a brand new coach, new regime, you start fresh. And I think that's what the New England Patriots are doing. And I'm going to pick Drake May here. I think Drake May has grown on me more and more. And from what I gathered from the draft, there were several teams trying to move up to number 3 to select Drake May. And the Patriots said no. So, I mean, I think that kind of shows you what the NFL side thinks of Drake May. They weren't trading. They wasn't trying to trade up to take J.J. McCarthy at number 3. So I think Drake May, once they build the team around him, who knows? He might be a quarterback that can make everybody around him better. We'll see. So we don't know how the offense is going to work. We don't know how the defense is going to work. So you're starting over, and that's what I like to see. And I think I'm going to trust Drake May here. I'm going to go Drake May, add him to my team.
Drake May, of these quarterbacks after Caleb Williams, he would be the only guy I would feel comfortable drafting. The other ones scare the all-living crap out of me because they fall in situations, which is why my argument I just made, you got Drake May. I am not Drake May. I like Drake May less than Caleb Williams. I have him actually behind a couple quarterbacks because I just think, I don't know. I don't know what to know about him, so maybe I am being way too cautious with him or going with North Carolina quarterbacks in the past from the systems, and he's throwing to rookie receivers. It's going to be a while. So is it the Ramondre Stevenson show? I mean, the head coach did learn from Belichick. What's he going to take with him? I don't know. But he's got that North Carolina stink on me. I mean, we had Sam Howell just come out of there. We had Mitchell Trubisky. But then again, Aaron Rodgers broke the California stink. Somebody's got to break the stink, and it could be Drake May. He just won't be on any of my teams. But I was just gloating about the guy that I thought you were going to take, so it makes my pick totally change from what I had typed initially. I will be taking another guy like Caleb Williams, who is stepping into a stellar situation. I would love to walk into the NFL and pass the ball to the best receiver in football, and then be able to have a top-tier tight end, a top number 2 receiver, and Aaron Jones in the backfield. Go, J.J. McCarthy. Once again, he's not Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has athletic talent there. It's just his head that worries me. J.J. McCarthy, people are worried a little bit about some of the athletic, but he's supposed to scamper some. But he's got that talent to throw to. So at 5, my team needs a quarterback. I'm throwing J.J. McCarthy, Minnesota Vikings quarterback.
It makes sense. I mean, this is how the quarterbacks are going to go. They're going to go. All of them are going to go early. Like I said, it's pretty much just how you feel about the player itself. I like J.J. McCarthy. I like Drake May. I don't know. I think Drake May has a little more of a ceiling. I think McCarthy's more of a consistent type quarterback. I think they're both going to be very good, very useful fantasy quarterbacks. But we all know only 1 or 2 of these guys are going to hit, probably not all of them. So there's going to be more failure than success. So with my pick, I figured you would take McCarthy. Obviously, all the quarterbacks are gone already, so I'm just going to go back to wide receiver. I got Marvin Harrison. I'm going to take the guy, obviously, that everybody was saying could be better than Marvin Harrison. And I think my wide receiver room is just going to be stacked with. I'm going to go Malik Neighbors here. We know what he did in college. Great route runner. Could be more explosive than Marvin Harrison. Who knows? I think Marvin Harrison obviously better. But from the way people talk about Malik Neighbors, he's fantastic. Now, he is part of the Giants offense. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but I think he's going to get thrown a lot of passes. So if you just get thrown a lot of passes, you're probably going to catch a lot of passes. And, hey, we play fantasy. That's what we do. A lot of passes is good. So, yeah, Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, and wouldn't it be cool if we were a 2-team fantasy league to see if we would end up here and have these guys on our team? Because
that'd be nice.
If you get Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors, that means you traded away your entire team, which a lot of leagues people do. They'll just wipe everything outside. I had a league last year where I had the 1, 3, 4, 6, something like that. But yeah, you could end up with a couple guys that'll be there. So,
I mean,
what you got?
Yeah, to be honest, depending on how you play fantasy, you got the same team for 3 or 4 years. I mean, it can get kind of old. You know, sometimes you just want to blow it up and start fresh. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't sound bad, but kind of have like that girlfriend for a really long. It just gets kind of boring sometimes.
That's why I put a ring on it. See, I'm more of a ring on it kind of guy, so I'm holding on to my guys. Travis Kelce's retiring on my team.
I mean, that's fine too. I mean, they got there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes it's time to move on, start fresh. You need a little excitement. You need to live dangerously. So I've got no issues with teams blowing up. You want to blow it up? Hey, you pay the entrance fee. You blow up all you want. Like, I've been considering blowing up a couple of my teams. I mean, I got Josh Allen on a team I've had for a few years now. I don't want to get rid of him, but I just want something different. You know, I just want something new.
I want a new toy. I've almost offered him in a couple of
months. Yeah, I mean, you know how much I could get for Josh Allen? I could get a whole bunch of new toys for Josh Allen and be excited. I might regret it middle of the season, but who cares?
Yeah, it's true. You actually, ironically, through the draft process, Malik Neighbors, I have him as my number 3 receiver because I just love the situation that Rome Odunze is landing in. Landing there to learn from Keenan Allen. So you're drafting Rome Odunze more as this year he might get 500-600 yards and a couple 4 to 5 touchdowns. You're drafting him for next year. Neighbors will be the guy this year, and we've seen guys that are the guy the first year then sort of disappear because people figure him out or some other guys get drafted. And I think Malik Neighbors, if I'm in redraft, I got him higher. I mean, they're back-to-back for me in my dynasty, but Rome's coming in. He's already BFFs with Caleb Williams. They literally flew to the draft together. So these guys knew what was coming. I wouldn't be surprised if the word comes out that Caleb Williams said, hey, Bears, draft him. I want him. So I like Rome Odunze in Chicago. I think that receiver core is awesome. Keenan Allen's 1 year, so next year it'll be Rome Odunze. It'll be DJ Moore. And then, I mean, he could be better than DJ Moore because I'm not a big DJ Moore guy. So there we go. Rock and roll.
All right. So I'm going to pretend that I need a tight end here, of course. So I got tight end. Let's say, I don't know, somebody retired or whatever. Or all my tight ends stink. So I'm going to go with the guy that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I'm not really sure how it's going to work. At tight end, they really don't work out as well as we all think they do. But I'm going to go Brock Bowers here. I mean, I can kind of see it like happening, like a Kyle Pitts type thing happening here. Just, it's kind of scary. The tight ends, they used to take a long time to develop, not so much anymore. They're expected to jump right in. But I think this is more of a long-term play than expecting him to come in and be 1,000-yard tight end this year. The talent's there. I'm not sure about the landing spot. They had Michael Mayer last year, but what's that say about Brock Bowers when they drafted, Michael Mayer still out last year? They're, drafting another one this year. So that means they must really, really like him. Quarterback plays sketchy, but
the stash.
Minshew can sling it. He's proven it. It kind of works more in the beginning of the season than he does there towards the end. He kind of figure him out a little bit. But yeah, I'll go. Who is I saying? Oh yeah, I'll go Brock Bowers here.
I heard some stuff today. I was listening to a couple other podcasts that the Raiders are talking about making him. They're going to be like Buffalo, so he's going to be the Kincaid. He's going to be the move tight end. So basically their big slot receiver is what he's going to be, and then Mayer's going to be pushed in to be initially like the Patriots have started this. Gronk was originally the blocking tight end, and then Hernandez just screwed everything up to make Gronk the man. And it's interesting, and that's the model the Bills are going with. That's the model. I mean, you look, the Bengals drafted 2 tight ends. They might be trying to go that way too. I mean. So it's not. I was worried more, and the more I listen to things about the Raiders and what they're thinking about with Bowers, I'm more comfortable. And I love the tight end position, so I'm all for it. But I did hear an argument today for the kid from Washington, who we won't talk about today, could be the dark horse. But anyway, number 9 is another one of my favorite receivers in the draft. I like big and fast. Reminds me of like a DK, AJ Brown kind of guy, and that is Brian Thomas Jr., Jacksonville wide receiver. He's going to fill in for Calvin Ridley. I'm going to gamble that he's going to do a little even better. So, but I just like big size speed for Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, quietly the number 12 quarterback. Give him a big weapon like this. And they cut Zay Jones, whoop-de-doo, but sky's the limit for this big fast dude. Out of LSU, he was there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's got all the talent, the athleticism's there. So we don't know how many routes this guy can really run. He just runs down the field and catches balls. But I mean, DK Metcalf made a living off of that. DK Metcalf has kind of settled into that wide receiver 2, that mid wide receiver 2, or maybe the lower end wide receiver 2. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think Brian Thomas be a big play guy. I mean, I think it's going to be a boomer bust type player. So if you're willing to live with that, I mean, it's more of your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 anyways, especially to start. So, I mean, it makes sense. So with my pick, I'm going to do something that I probably never thought I was going to do. I already got 2 receivers. I feel like the rest of the receivers are just kind of the same. You just throw a dart, whichever one you land on, whichever one falls to you, one is who you're going to take. And the running backs aren't ready to go yet, so I'm going to go quarterback here. I'm going to go Bo Nix. I mean, I feel like
I love you, man.
He's obviously going to jump in and be the starting quarterback. And so if he hits, Bo Nix here is, it's going to be, a solid pick. If he doesn't hit, I mean, I wasted a end of round draft pick. You know how many end of round draft picks I've wasted in my life at fantasy football? A whole bunch. So I might as well take someone with the ceiling of a starting quarterback, even though I don't like him. I mean, you've got to be able to live this kind of life in fantasy. I'm going to go Bo Nix.
I don't like you. I was hoping to get cute and take him soon. You knew it too, because everybody knows that I have this love for Bo Nix. I think that he is going to be a pretty good. I love the landing spots. No arguments for me here. Now I'm totally messed up because that was who I was thinking about taking there at that point because it's SuperFlex. Oh man, there's some receivers here, but it's like the question marks of all question marks as you're looking at receivers here. There's guys, as I'm sitting there looking at my draft rankings, there's guys I'm tossing them back around. My number 1 running back is still sitting there. But do I go with a trendy name or the name that we think is going to be good? I'm going to go with a guy that I probably won't get anywhere, and that's Xavier Worthy out of Kansas City. Kansas City is notoriously terrible at drafting receivers, but Xavier Worthy is fitting into a mold of a kind of player they want. He's not coming in. I've heard he's not coming into a situation where he is a reach. Like you had Mecole Hardman, who we all thought was going to be a stud because Tyreek was going to go down. But Xavier Worthy's coming in. It's going to be him and Hollywood. He's a faster Hollywood. He's not Hollywood. And he's got Patrick Mahomes. We're on the tail end of Kelsey. We got 2 more years of Kelsey, I think, with that contract. Somebody's got to catch the ball, right? I wouldn't draft him because there's another guy I like more, but I want to look smart. So I'm going to draft Xavier Worthy for no other reason than he plays for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the Chiefs are terrible at drafting receivers. They did draft Tyreek Hill. They did draft Rashee Rice. Now, Rashee Rice is going to probably be suspended at some point. But, I mean, so they're not terrible. I mean, they do have some misses, don't they? Doesn't everybody? But yeah, I'm not sure what to think of Xavier Worthy. He's super fast. I mean, he had a lot of yards in on his senior season in college. So I mean, he can catch
Devonta
the
Smith
ball,
could
but the NFL is different. Everybody's fast. Everybody in NFL is fast, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I probably won't have too much Xavier Worthy. I'll probably shy away from that, and I could regret that. So I think my next guy, instead of taking the sixth or seventh best wide receiver at this point, uh, instead of taking another quarterback for 2 years down the road, I'm going to go with the running back that I think might not make immediate impact. But I think eventually by the end of the season, he'll be earning the Ks. And I'm going to go Trey Benson out of Florida State. I think he's fast. Well, I don't think he's fast. I know he's fast. It might not be the best runner, but I think the situation is really good. I think the offense is going to be really good as long as Kyler Murray's playing the whole season. I think James Conner has been a fantastic running back, and I think Trey Benson can slide right in there and provide just as good, just as much yardage as James Conner. So I'm going to go. God, I forgot it again. Trey Benson here.
Dude, that's my RB1 in the rookie class. I'm one of the like you and I are on the same page. Like Trey Benson, I was wondering if he would fall any lower for me, and I'm curious where he's going to fall because this is where my first pick is in my draft that I start on Mondays around this area, and I like Trey Benson a lot, but I don't think he'll fall to me because I mean you're looking at Jonathan Brooks. Most people might take him more. It depends on the team owner and what they need for teams, and some people like what I've learned. My piece of advice for drafting rookies is BPA. Best player available. If the best player on the board right there is a tight end and I have 7 tight ends, I'm still drafting a tight end unless the other guy after him is that close. Because it's dynasty. You can trade. You got a roster of 28 guys. So if you only have one running back, you're a nincompoop anyway, and you got to figure out how to get through it. So I always would go there. But I love Trey Benson. I love the situation. Arizona, that offense could be Houston this year, right? They could be what Houston did last year. With what they got, I mean,
absolutely. I mean, Kyler Murray's been a fantastic quarterback. Well, let me rephrase that.
I love
Kyler
it. Yeah,
you said it. I heard it. In the second half of football games, he looks really bad in the beginning, and then somehow managed. He ends up with like 3 points at halftime, and then he's got like 30 by the end of the game. So yeah, I think that offense is going to be very fantasy productive.
I mean, you're looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. We could argue Michael Wilson, who came on from Stanford there. You got the Dortch, who's going to be there, and Trey McBride's a stud, and 2 running backs. I think he's got weapons. You just got to keep going. So I'm going to, with the first pick of round 2, take my 2026 round 1 pick. In 2026, with the first round of the rookie draft, I will select Michael Penix Jr. This is a patient pick. He's a player. It looks like Kirk Cousins is going to be 2 years there because they're going to win the Super Bowl apparently. Michael Penix will then be 84 years old, or 27, and he's going to step right in for a decade. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks coming into the league, if not close to my favorite coming into the rookie draft. Just fell into a terrible situation, and to get in round 2 after round 1, the hit rate just drops. There's lead balloon drops for players. So I look at some guys that I love that are still in round 2, but they're going to be poo. This guy's going to have 2 years to sit under a quarterback that is just a good human, and I'm sure Kirk Cousins is going to trade him up. And in 2 years, Atlanta Falcons, Bijan, Drake, Kyle Pitts, they're going to have Michael Penix thrown to them, who's learned the NFL and is comfortable in his big boy pants.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, he could be good, he could not. I mean, nobody really knows. I mean, like I said, if Kirk Cousins can prove that this offense really is good, that these players really are good, as good as we think they are, and then Michael Penix should be able to slide right in. I mean, I'm not going to say he's the same kind of quarterback as Kirk Cousins, but they're both pocket passers. They both got solid arms. Michael Penix can sling a little bit. So yeah, I mean, in the second round, why not take it? A pick that's be a dart thrower anyway. I mean, most of your second rounders probably won't be playing for you a whole lot anyway. So yeah, I think it's a solid pick. So I've got nothing wrong with picking Penix at 8. He wasn't going to last much longer. People keep saying they could have traded back. Well, what if they couldn't have traded back? I mean, maybe nobody was going to trade up to number 8 because they was going to get the person that they wanted at 10. So why give up a future draft pick if you can just get the same player at 10? It makes no sense. I don't think he was going to last past the Raiders. The Raiders were going to take him anyways, from what I hear. So, yeah, I mean, if you want your guy, go get your guy. Was it the smartest move? Who knows? We'll find out.
I kind of like it. I think it's an interesting strategy. If it's them gambling on themselves. It's like when you trade that pick, you're like, I'm trading a first round pick, but I know it's going to be 1.12 in a 12-team trade. That's basically a second round pick. When this year I had the 1.3 because I know my team's going to be good. So they're like, hey, we're not going to be in this half of the draft because our team is young and growing. Our picks in the next few years are going to be like 23, 24. So we're getting, second tier guards and things. I love it. So who are you taking in the second pick around 2?
All right, with so many wide receivers still on the board and so few running backs, I'm just going to stick with running backs and get most people's number 1 running back here and take Jonathan Brooks. I'm not sure how the Panthers are going to be. I know they're pretty bad, but running backs can be productive on bad teams. I know he's coming off the ACL. Might not be the guy that starts the season, but maybe towards the end of the season you start coming on. Might win you a fantasy league. Who knows? So, yeah, I'm going to take Jonathan Brooks here and fill out my running back room, and I shouldn't need another running back for the rest of the draft.
Because there's none left.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks for making my life really tough. So basically, I'm looking at receivers at this point in the draft, and there's 2 popping up right here at me, and it really comes down to they're 2 guys who are very similar, and you're looking at Keon Coleman and Ladd McConkey in my book there, and I'm looking at Keon Coleman has Josh Allen, who just lost his number 1 target, lost his number sometime number 2.
How are these similar into where they went to their teams?
Similar in the fact that if you look at their college production, it was nothing that you're going to be like, this
I thought you meant like playstyle.
Yeah. No. So I'm looking at Ladd McConkey and Keenan Coleman are the 2 guys that I'm really looking at this point. And I don't know which one to take, and I love Ladd McConkey. So I'm going to go with the Chargers there because Keenan Coleman is been shown to be very similar to Gabe Davis, which means he'll probably disappear a lot. Ladd McConkey's falling into a system with a guy that can't catch the ball and Trey Palmer, who played like 3 college football games. So Ladd McConkey could step right in and be Justin Herbert's number 1, number 2. Doesn't matter. They're going to run more, but somebody's got to catch the ball in this pass-heavy NFL. So I'm going Ladd McConkey, Chargers wide receiver.
Yeah, I will just never see Ladd McConkey as anybody's number 1 wide receiver ever. I just don't see it. Maybe a stronger slot guy, maybe a number 2.
PPR, man.
I mean that's fine, but I don't think he's going to be a number 1 receiver for PPR. I just don't see it. I mean, he did great in Georgia. That's fine. But yeah, this is probably the one guy that I will own nothing of. And I'm not necessarily even going to say I'll regret it if I don't. I mean, if I miss on Ladd McConkey, so what? There's other people that I feel like I could probably be a little more excited about. And he just doesn't do it for me. But there are a lot of people seem to like him for some reason.
Who's your guy?
So with my guy, I want to go with the guy that nobody really seems to like. So maybe that's why I'm always losing at fantasy, because I always seem to like the wrong guys. Which, hey, fine with me. But when you watch his tape, I mean, it's fun. He's fun to watch in college. And that's Xavier Worthy out of South Carolina. I think he's, like I said, I'm not sure how the Carolina Panthers are. I know I'm going back-to-back Panthers here. I feel like I'm all in. I don't think Bryce Young could be as bad as he was last year. And I think Leggett's the type of receiver that can catch a ball close to the line and break one long. And I think that's kind of what Bryce Young needs at the moment. Somebody that can catch a ball short and take it deep, build a little confidence. So I'm going to go Xavier Leggett here.
I like how you fixed it. You drafted Xavier Worthy initially, so I was gonna bust your chops, but you got it.
Oh, did I say Worthy? Oh, yeah. My bad.
I'm hearing more and more about him. I mean, yeah, his problem is he's going to Carolina, but he's a little older too, so he was a late breakout. So, but I like it. I feel comfortable in Carolina.
If we did the little older with this draft,
It'd be
we're not going to like anybody in this. I mean, Jaden Daniels is like a fifth-year breakout quarterback, and here he is going number 2. Bo Nix just sucks. But
you took him into
we'll see how that goes.
So you made my pick easier. I was deciding between Lab McConkey or Keon Coleman, and I'm going to go to Buffalo. I'm going to take Gabe Davis 2.0. We love Gabe Davis. It could be just because I like the way he shops. He's going to entertain me, if nothing else. Just a good dude to have. But he's going to be in Buffalo. They lost Stephon Diggs. The receiver, their number 1 receiver is Khalil Shakir. Their number 2 receiver is Curtis Samuels. So Keon Coleman should get to play early on, and we'll just see if his college production, as I said, was up and down. So we'll see how he pans out in Buffalo.
Yeah, nice pick. I mean, got no issues there. So with my pick, I'm gonna. So I know I said I had enough running backs here, but you know what? I just want one more running back because
really?
you can never have enough. So I'm going to go with the fast running back that's going to go to the fast offense. I'm going to go Jalen. I'm going to go Jalen right here. I've kind of grown on it a little bit. I feel like it's a great fit. Speaking of the Dolphins, they also signed Odell Beckham, so congratulations to them. That just opens up that offense just so much. But I think with what's in their running back room right now, we all love Devin Achane, blah blah blah. But I don't think Devin Achane is a workhorse running back. Obviously, he's not going to get those kind of carries. And Raheem Mostert, last year, his age 31 season was his healthiest season of his career. I'm going to rely on the fact that the rest of his career has been injury riddled, and he's 32 years old. So, and I think this guy's just going to fit right into this offense and just do what every other running back has done in this offense and break off big plays and have really big games. So I'm going to go Jalen right here.
I love that. That makes me very happy. I got nothing. I mean, a fast bowling ball. Does life get any better? So I'm going to follow my, I'm thinking you've got Jamar Chase gets to hang out with his college quarterback. Why can I not remember what's his name up in Cincinnati right now as I'm recording?
Joe Burrow?
Thank you, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow. And so I'm going to follow Bo Nix. Troy Franklin and Bo Nix, he threw the ball to him. Threw the ball to him a lot. And rookie quarterbacks like to have that guy that they know really well. So this is Bo Nix's line to success. He's got Cortland Sutton in the end zone to catch 12 touchdowns for 205 yards. He's got some running backs there. That's all he did last year. He didn't get anything but touchdowns, and then he died. But Troy Franklin's going to be there with Bo Nix. They're going to grow together. If Bo's successful, it's because Troy's successful. So I'm going to follow the Denver process here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a fan of Bo Nix, even though I did draft. I'm not a fan of Bo Nix. Troy Franklin somehow lasted to the 4th round, so that's kind of a worry there. Like I said, the offense is not really sure. I mean, it's a lot easier to throw passes to receivers at Oregon than it is in the NFL. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, he's got just as much chance to hit as any of these other guys. At least they've got that camaraderie, so they know each other. They know the routes that that he can run. So yeah, I think Troy Franklin's a fine pick here. Got no issues there. So with my guy, I'm looking. It's kind of hard at this point. I feel like everybody's kind of the same. I got the top 2 running backs. I got the top 2 receivers. So why not just stick with what I'm going here and just take the top 2 tight ends as well? And I'm going to go Ben Sinnott. I'm not really sure how to pronounce this guy's name.
Earlier today, I thought it was, I don't know.
Yeah, so he's going to the Commanders. I'm not a huge Commanders fan, but I like to follow him. I like to have a couple of players on there so I can kind of root for him a little bit. And I think he's got a path to play right away. Logan Thomas retired. They don't have a lot in their tight end room. I understand. But Zach Ertz is 34. He didn't play last year. So I think Zach Ertz will be a great teacher. Like, I'm sure Zach Ertz will get his run in the beginning. Zach Ertz has been hurt a lot lately. It seems to be the way he goes. And I think Sinnott's he's very athletic, more of a Sam Laporta type. I don't want to compare him to Sam Laporta at all. That's not what I'm saying. But I think it might take more than a year. But I like Ben Sinnott here.
No, I'll never argue with a tight end. Somebody's got to be good as you do it. So I am going to go to your favorite team. Actually, I haven't gotten you a mug for him yet, but we're going to go to San Francisco. And with this might be a long-term draft pick, but it's Ricky Pearsall. He is coming out of Arizona State, coming in, and there's been talk of either Ayuk or Debo being traded. One of them will be gone in a year, so that moves him into number 2 in an offense that's always putting up numbers. George Kittle's always hurt, so he might even have to step in for him at times. So I like he's 6'1", $189, so he's not super skinny like my last pick, one of my last picks who was like $165. So I'm going to follow your 49ers and hope that they can make another receiver from a guy that's not super early draft, but came out of Florida. He's once again an older guy. He's 23, but going into that system, I'm gonna shoot for them in San Francisco. And he was 31st pick, so they like him. Went in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say I don't have no issue. I'm not sure how good Ricky Pearsall is going to be, but I mean, yeah, at this point, I mean, as long as they get rid of one of those wide receivers, eventually they're going to have to, anyways. But yeah, like I said, they don't pass a whole lot, so I mean, it's going to be hard to kind of feed especially if they keep Ayuk. I'm not sure Pearsall can fit in as that like give me the ball type number 2 wide receiver. But I mean, like who knows? Keep saying at this point, you're just taking the best players available, and he's the best player available. So my pick, I'm not really sure where to go here. I keep seeing all these receivers. I keep saying I pick my last running back, but I'm gonna go one more running back, and he's coming out of USC. I mean, and that's Marshawn Lloyd. This guy just looks like a horse. I mean, he's big, he's built. Now I know he's playing behind Josh Jacobs. And Josh Jacobs is a legit running back. I'm pretty sure he's going to have a good season because he usually does. But he is an older running back. He's getting up there in age, and I think Marshawn Lloyd can fill in fine when his time comes. So yeah, Marshawn Lloyd here.
I mean, the thing is, Josh Jacobs got paid. His contract has a low buyout in a year. So this could, I mean, at this point, you're looking super future. He could be the starting running back. I'll put him as a quarterback. He could be the starting running back for Green Bay this time next year. And you're like, hey, guess who I have? Zamir White already. That's what we're looking at. Zamir White owners are looking at that right now. It was 2 years. But, you're drafting sort of for the future at this point, looking at guys that get there. So since you're drafting all the running backs, I got to keep drafting stinking receivers. And I'm going to a team that likes to draft decent receivers, a team that I'm going to go with we're going to see a Wilson to Wilson connection. So we're looking at Roman Wilson coming with my last pick of the draft out of Michigan. So J.J. McCarthy loved to throw to this dude, but he's going into a Pittsburgh system, and whether we love, or hate Pittsburgh, somehow they make guys good. So he came out of a solid system in college, going into, if arguably the best pro system of the entire history of the NFL. They've had ups and downs, but as far as consistent teams, it's the Steelers, and he's got Russell Wilson, maybe the punt returner, Justin Fields throwing to him. Yeah. So we'll see how life goes. But I'm going Roman Wilson, and I'm going to go with Pittsburgh picking the next Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the next Antonio Brown here, but I mean, I think he's going to get run. So I mean, as long as their quarterback can produce, I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for Roman Wilson. Got no issues with that. So my pick, since I picked Drake May earlier, he's going to need a receiver to throw to. Now they drafted Jalen Polk. I mean, he was fine with Michael Penix, looked good in that Washington offense. But I'm going to go with the guy who says he's the best receiver in the draft. No, obviously he's not, I would argue. But that's Javon Baker. I'm starting to love this guy's confidence more and more. He thinks he's the best. And that's the kind of attitude you need in the NFL. I think Drake May is really going to like this guy. So I'm going to take my shot here with Javon Baker and hope Drake May and this guy can be the 1-2 punch.
So I'm not insane. I was looking at my rankings. I have him ranked higher than Polk, even though he was drafted after Polk. And the irony of the whole situation is these two dudes are physically. Polk is 6'1", 203. Baker 6'1", 202. So it's just funny. The two there's gonna be two pillars that are the exact same size. It's gonna see which one of these knuckleheads can step up and step out. So
Well, maybe
there
both
we
of them
go.
do.
Well, there we go. Real quickly, run through Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Bo Nix, Xavier Worthy, Trey Benson in the first round. Second round, Michael Penix Jr., Jonathan Brooks, Lab McConkey, Xavier Leggett, Keenan Coleman, Jalen Wright, Troy Franklin, Ben Sino or Ben Sinot, whatever. We'll find out from him how he says his name soon. Ricky Pearsall, Marshawn Lloyd, Roman Wilson, and Javon Baker. That's our first two rounds. Next week, we're going to go into guys that will be deeper stats, and we might even, if all works out, have a very special guest. We'll see how it goes. But any last parting words of wisdom after we did a 24-player draft there, JJ Wang?
Yeah, so this isn't about football. I'm going to talk about wrestling, wrestling real quick. So of course they had their Backlash PLE today. Not bad. It was okay. But there's two things that I've noticed here. What I like, what I don't like. One, the first thing that I love is overseas shows. These fans, when they go overseas and are so excited. The atmosphere is so much better. These guys are singing the whole time, cheering the whole time. I might not understand anything they're saying, but it sounds great, and they are just so excited. I'd rather watch one of those anytime than watch, here in the good old United States. And second, absolutely hate this, but the advertisement that these guys are showing for Prime is absolutely driving me bonkers. It is just giving this Paul guy so much more money, and it's a terrible drink.
Breaking news, by the way.
Absolutely hate. What's that?
Breaking news. FantasyCouriers.com. TheFantasyCouriers.com is live and on the web as we're doing it. TheFantasyCouriers.com. It's a building site under construction. So anyway, yes, I am with you all about Logan Paul. I'm sick of it. My son loves the Prime drink, and I'm glad that it's getting really cheap because now it's Gatorade.
Well, it should be free. I mean, it's a terrible, but yeah, I can't, I'm not a fan of Jake Paul or Logan Paul anyways. I'm not really a fan. Great athlete, great wrestler, but that's neither here nor there. Prime is terrible. As always, trust yourself and trust the process.